Hey, black belts, I've got a class for you today, and we're going to be covering lots of different things that you are working on in your curriculum. I want to start you off by reminding you to do a good warm-up before you start your karate training, and use your different exercises that we're doing in classes these days, using your hand pad for your sit-ups, laying back and pulling forward, push-ups where it's on the floor and you have it touch your chest as you're doing your push-ups. Do your squats, touching the pad to the ground and coming back up, and doing your burpees with the pad on the ground, kick it out, and come back up from there. So keep up those exercises. We want to do those for the next couple of months to stay strong, to make some improvement in each of those areas. Now, the main focus that we're going to be working on today through your class, after you've done your warm-up now, is to work on your katas. We're going to do our bow kata, the first one, Tokumina no Kun, and we're going to work on the Chinto kata, which most of you already know, but we're going to fine tune it, sharpen it up. We're also going to do some work with sticks. So we're going to start off with the bow. And I know if you're in your house, it might be hard to use your full-size bow. Obviously, I'm at the dojo, so I'm going to use this. But if you have a smaller bow, something shorter, that's a good length, you can do that, use that in your house without worrying about hitting the walls or anybody else. And you can also use your kali stick. If you have one of your kali sticks, even though you might not get the same feeling behind it, at least you'll get the motion. You can get your body doing what you want it to do, but using just the stick instead. So anything that you can do to simulate having a bow or using your real bow, that will be helpful. All right, so we're going to start with the Tokumina no Kun kata, which again, you all have probably done before and you know quite well, but we're going to work on some of the details of it. I want you to do the first couple of moves right at the beginning. So after you do the Yasume and Kyutsuke and bow, and you get ready to begin, and your hand comes under the bow, pull around. Now, when you step back for your down block, make sure you raise up your arm first. That's important. Get that up first, then step back and hit your block. I see many times where people will step back and then they'll raise up and block. Well, the block's coming kind of late. So I think it's better, I'd like to see you do this, where you raise your hand up first, and now time the block with the step, same time, right there. Now, after you practice that, next move is coming around and overhead strike. So let's do that again. Remember your timing. After you twist, remember, don't let your bow go past your face. Turn it so it comes just by the side of your head, but your eyes are still looking forward. Raise up the bow, and now time it so your step and your block happen together. That's the way. Good. And the block's on a good angle front to back and side to side slightly. Now, the overhead strike, bring it around, bring it up to that full overhead position, then come down on the head. Remember having your finger on top of the bow and pushing down that way. All right. After that overhead hit, it's back to a guard. And when your hand comes back to the side, turn that wrist out. Get that wrist angled out so that you're ready for the snapping strike. So when you step forward in your crane stance, good snap. Again, the wrist is out because we're going to snap again in the horse stance. And then the third step, crane stance with the snap. All right, we have our circle block coming up. Turn the hand out, turn the bow, circle it around as you hit your stance. So you're getting a full circle with the bow. If you keep your hand here, you're not really using your wrist. Turn your wrist out, come down and around. When you get up to the top, bend your wrist in. Down, around, bend the wrist. Get that full circle on that circle block. All right, after the block, it's a look. It's a wind up. And you step with your right foot over to the right corner and strike. That's the reverse strike, rib level. Next move, look to the other corner, and you see I've wound up my bow, and then I step in and I side strike to that other corner. Again, a long stance off in that direction. Now we're going to wind up the bow for the push block. And when we do, switch your front hand and pick it up. And at that point, your other hand switches. So now the bow is right at your shoulder, and it should be at your right shoulder. And as we come in with our step, left foot steps in, make the bow push out and across the body. So from a front view, it would look like this. Out and across the body this way. That type of movement. Don't just push out straight. That doesn't block it. Come across this way. All right, from this side position. And you might be doing this opposite of me because you're going the other way as you're practicing the kata. But just relate it to the way that I'm doing it. Think about the move. Now, circle it around your shoulder and overhead strike. That's a full strike coming down. Then the up and down are quick motions with a quick flip up and a quick flip down. And when you do that up flip, make sure the end of the bow is straight forward. I see a lot of people do this strike out to the side. Well, that doesn't do you much good. The opponent's right in front. So after your push block and your overhead strike, come right up under the chin, straight in front of you. And then back down again and finish that strike fully. Get it under your arm. Bring the bow down to your side. Side strike, side strike. A good 90-degree bend in the elbow gives you good strength on those strikes. Now, we're into a horse stance next. So we're going to snap strike, turn this wrist out. So you hit your horse stance and then get a full snapping strike. So your wrist turns over from wrist out to wrist on top as you do that strike. Here's that circle block again, and with this front hand, watch how it turns out first and then circles around for the block. All right, we're switching hands and bringing it to the back shoulder, and now across again to the other side. Here it comes, overhead strike, a good focused strike all the way down. Now the up down, remember them right in the middle, right in front of chin level. Now across, temple strike, wrist turns out because we're going to snap strike from here, hit that horse stance, there's the snap strike. And now circle the hand back, circle block. So I hope you're getting some of the nuances and some of the fine points of this because you already have the basics of learning how to do the bow. Now it's fine tuning it to bring it up to a higher level. Black belts are doing the same techniques as a lower belt with using the bow, but they should be doing it at a higher level. So pay attention to your hand positions, body positions, things like that. All right, we're at this circle block. Now we're going to come forward. The bow comes down and your right foot comes in and steps forward with that pull up at the same time so that you're getting an upward pull. This could be hitting the opponent in the groin or hitting up on their hand against their bow. Now, feet come back together and prepare. The next move is the thrust, long stance. Straight in with the thrust. Extend the arms. Now, walk up the bow and step in the thrust. And what I mean by walking up the bow is when we step forward with our next step after a thrust, we don't want to bring the bow back and then step and thrust. That gives away your move to your opponent. So what we'd rather do is after the thrust, leave it out there and just move your body up. And you see how that movement of your body coming up winds up the bow enough to get another thrust. So from your first move, imagine the end of the bow is staying in one place. Step your body. Now, thrust from there. Next move, same thing. Leave the bow there, step your body up the bow, and then thrust. So we're not winding up for every time. All right, we're at our third strike here, and we turn to the back. When we turn to the back, head goes first, then body, and then lift your wrist up above your shoulder, cocking it over your shoulder this way, and the other hand straight out in front. Step your foot down, and then step in with a side strike, right hand, right leg forward. Next move, again, this is a move where we keep the bow in place so that the bow doesn't move, but our body does. And we come around to a kneeling position with the left leg on the floor. Now, low strike, and then a reverse strike. That's up higher. The first strike hits the knee, second strike up to the head. And from here, you push yourself straight up, make a long stance with your feet, and then go right to your down block. Overhead strike, up, down, aiming them forward, and then temple strike, come all the way to the side of your body, come all the way to the other side of your body, cock your wrist, ready for your snap strike, push in, horse stance, snap strike. And now turn the wrist out, bring the bow out a little bit to the side, feet back together, and there's your circle block. All right, so that's about half of the kata right there, and it's got a lot of fine points in it that I'd like to see you work on. Wrist position, wrist position, wrist position, all these things, and also getting your body behind your strikes. It's one thing just to move your arms to do the bow. It's another thing to use your body. Turn your hips. Use your body behind all your different strikes. This will bring your bow technique up to a higher level. So I hope that's helpful on the first part of the bow kata. We'll get to the other part in future lessons, but work specifically on that first part, sharpen it up. It'll improve your kata in a lot of ways. All right, let's move on. Put your bow off to the side. And now we're going to go into Chinto kata. As you know, Chinto kata is on a 45-degree angle. And that in itself makes it challenging to get your stances right, to get your footwork right, to get your eye contact right. All those things can be a bit challenging just because of the 45-degree angle that this kata is on. So let's begin. And again, you probably know the moves of this kata. We're not going to do the whole thing today. We're going to work on some sections of it. And the section I want to go to right now is from the elbow strike to the double block move. And some of these moves I might be turned around for a minute, but I'll come back to the front to be able to show you. Again, you know these things. When you do your part of the kata where you step in and punch, and then you do your elbow strike. Remember that? All right, that's where we're going to start from. Now, bring your right arm down. That arm that hit with the elbow comes down and comes under and then up, and that makes your guard. So from the elbow, that elbow hand is the one that comes down. Bring it down, come under, and here. When you make a guard, make both hands in front of. It looks like I had a little glitch, but I think we're back on. Yep, I think we're good. All right, sorry about that. I don't know what happened. The computer had a little glitch there for a moment. All right, let's continue. From that elbow strike and guard, hands in front of the body, slightly turned so the edge of the hand is blocking. Don't put your hand completely straight, but turn it out slightly this way. So one hand is directly in front of the solar plexus and the other hand is directly behind it, ready to catch a punch or block it, but both hands are directly in line. The next move is keeping your eyes forward, but stepping back to horse stance and shooting the arms back behind you. So one hand is on the chest, open, the other hand is straight, palm down, palm up, palm down in that move. This could be thinking of grabbing the opponent or blocking them and then taking them and throwing them back behind, but still being aware of the opponent in front. Now, as you come through for the next moves, we know we're going to come across to here and strike. Chopping and spear hand is typically the way that we think of those two moves. But don't just think about these strikes. Your hands are also doing a strike as you're coming forward. Watch this. When I come back, emphasize this outward move of the arms too. That in itself could be a hit, a ridge hand, a block, and bring it all the way through. So don't stop there to make the strike, but follow it through. Make it flow through that move, through this way. Now, chop and strike. So chopping to the neck, spear hand. Raise up your arms, chop on the collarbones. Get the angle of your hands to match where a collarbone would be on a person's body. Now change to a horse stance, and this is where we look to the side again and go down with the knuckles. Top two knuckles, right this way in horse stance. Turn to the front again and open hand block. This is a typical shuto uki, or open hand side block, coming right to the side. Don't extend it. I see often people extend that block out, but keep it tight here. Shoulder level, right at the side of the body. Just this way, not in, not out, but right at the side of the body. Now, raise up the other arm. And this left arm, as it comes across, is going to hit the forearm into the palm of that hand. Later in the kata, you hit the hammer fist, but this is another point that gets confused sometimes for students. I see them hit the hammer fist on this one. No, this one is the forearm. Pull your hand in, turn your other arm in at the same time, so you get a good hit. That's an arm breaking move. Now the hand that was holding reaches out, grabs a hair, other hand on top, and then a big step back in the other direction to do the throw. So the hands go down and you get to that throwing move. Let me do it this way. So you take this hand, you step in and push down. That right leg is forward and your hands are pushed down just above your knee. Now, hand comes back up to your ear. Your right hand comes up to your ear. Your left arm's in front. And as you step behind in a crane stance, you're covered, you're chambered right now. That's the blocking position. One hand on your chest, other hand down low. Front snap kick from here, and then horse stance and double hit down again. Snap them so they bounce down and then come back up. Next move, twist your front foot. I'm going to move back a little bit so you can see that better. But my front foot turns. I'm not going to be able to turn as much as I wanted, but as I pivot my body forward, it will turn more. So I'm in a crane stance on that 45-degree line, and my hands came to the center and come up for that double head block position. Stepping forward, left leg, left hand down block. My right hand stays up there for a head block. Then I step again, and I do the double block with the other hand. Now the spinning block is a Seisan stance coming around, but you spin through, so your left foot's going to go forward. Turn your right foot in, let your left foot lift up, and come all the way around to Seisan stance on the other side, and hit your down block as you come through. So when you do that spin, this hand that's up over your head is going to do the next down block. Just bring it to your shoulder as you start your spin. Turn your body, bring it to your shoulder, bring it up by your ear, and then pull it and get your down block from there. So if you want, watch this section again, do it again, maybe a couple of times, and fine tune your moves in the kata. Sometimes it's great to go through the entire kata, but in order to improve it, it's often better to take a section at a time and make sure you're doing those parts of it correctly. Your overall kata is a combination of all the moves from beginning to the end, but each individual move is important by itself. So pay attention to the details on each individual section. All right, we're going to move on. Next is using your Kali sticks. And we're going to go with the double sticks this time. I've got a couple of drills for you to practice. All right, got your sticks. Good. Warm them up a little bit, maybe a couple of spins. Good. Spin the other way. Try to loosen up those wrists. Good. Some figure eights. If you know how to do that, using the sticks in figure eight motion. Good. Holding them in the center and just twist. This is a good way to loosen up your forearms and your wrists. Maybe one up, one down, circling around. Just twisting, twisting, twisting as you're going. Good. And one more warm up is a windshield wiper type of move. Let the hands crisscross and out, crisscross and out, switching, and emphasize the outward part of it here and then back. Outward and back, just like that. Good. Good. All right, so you're warming up your wrists, you're warming up your forearms. All right, we're going to do a movement that utilizes your body behind the stick. So like we talked about with the bow, just using your arm is fine, but it's not enough. If you can use your arm and your body when you're using a weapon, well, so much the better. So we're going to start one hand under, one hand over. We're going to come through with the lower hand first, and it's going to come up to the opposite shoulder. Then the hand on this side comes underneath. So all it is basically is switching. The bottom hand comes first, then the top hand. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now you see I'm starting to turn my body with it so that I'm using the twist of my hips and my body to help with the strike. Now if you do it quickly, of course keep a good grip on the bow, on the stick so you don't lose it. It's going to feel like you're getting some good speed and power behind those strikes. So lower strike comes first, and then the upper strike comes through. You might hear the sound too, whipping it through the air. That's going to be hard to do if you just use your arms, but when you use your body, you can really get it. Do that a few more times. Try getting both arms moving. Lower arm starts first. Keep a good grip on those sticks. Twist your body in, and then snap the other hand. 1, 2. 1, 2. Good. After you've done that a few times, I'm going to give you a little variation of this one. Similar pattern, but this time starting with the upper hand. Instead of coming straight across, this hand is going to make a circle over your head and then come through. But in between those two moves, that middle stick will come out. It's not as complicated as it seems. Watch. Here's the circle, here's this strike, and here's that one. Let's do it again. The top hand starts. There's a circle, but while it's finishing, this one's coming through, and then it comes back down. Now, this one starts the circle, this one comes through, and then finish down. Circle, through, down. Circle, through, down. Circle, through, down. You see how that's going? Circle it first, come through, and hit. So practice slowly at first, and when you start to feel comfortable with the timing of this and the body movement of this, you'll get it. Circle and go. So this is really teaching good body mechanics, which help you deliver power whether you have a weapon or even with empty hand as well, using your body behind what you're doing. Remember, as black belts, it's not always about learning more things. It's about learning what you already know at a better level. Learn deeper rather than higher. Improve your skill at your basic level, make your body work more efficiently. That's what being a black belt is really all about. Yes, there are new katas, there's other weapons and things that are great to challenge yourself, but what's more important is to master the basics to the highest level possible. So I hope you liked your class today. This is a special black belt class for you, and keep up your good training, and wish you well on your journey to your martial arts excellence. Take care.